And now, the LSU Football Fix with Preston Guy, presented by TigerBait, starts now.
And welcome in to your LSU Football Fix. Tonight is a special Thursday evening edition because, well, Monday was Christmas. And look, I love y'all a lot. I don't, miss seeing my wife and family on Christmas. Love y'all. So we're gonna move that back. Probably next week. We're also gonna have to move the show back to either Tuesday or Thursday next week. I'll look and decide because LSU, of course, plays its ball game on Monday. So we'll be doing, me and Mike will be doing our post-game show. But anyways, plenty to talk about tonight as LSU is 3 days out from its ball game with Wisconsin. Lance Hurd didn't make the trip to Tampa Bay with the team. We're going to discuss that. Could he be entering the portal? I'm going to tell you what I know on that. We will be talking about the bowl game and generally what we'll be looking for and giving you just some real brief surface level information about Wisconsin and what to expect from them. And of course, if we have time, we're going to get to the Brian Kelly rumors because I ultimately think that it's a topic that's going on and it's our responsibility to discuss it. But I think that there's too many dominoes that need to fall before we take that conversation seriously. So before we get going, do as Todd Davis says here. Please hit that ravishing like button. Thank you, Todd Davis. So y'all hit the like button, share the video, do what you can to get the word out there, especially considering it is a Thursday night show and maybe some people might miss it. I know they usually come looking for us on a Monday night, but that's not the case tonight. So Zach, what's going on, man?
Not too much. Obviously, we're in the middle of a holiday season, fresh off Christmas. New Year's coming up, so working, getting some stuff done, but obviously it's hard to lock in when, you got a holiday coming up this weekend too. But yeah, busy. Obviously the Lance Hurd stuff and bowl prep, a lot of different things going on right now, but we're doing good on this end.
I hope you had a great Christmas with your family. I hope you got to go to New Orleans, spend some time with them. I have mostly been taking this week off. Of course, in this role, you can't ever really take off. You have to kind of keep up with what's going on, but I haven't been writing anything or doing any shows. So a lot of time with my family and whatnot. I'll tell you what, Christmas gets a lot harder when you have to be Santa Claus. Whew, man, that staying up till 2, 3 a.m. building his little jungle gym, man. That is tough. So guys, if you got any questions, go get them out tonight. I imagine this will be a little more unstructured than we usually do. Lots of opportunities to do that. I'm also going to try to get to my ads a little quicker tonight, just because it's a little bit of a looser show. I want a little more time for your comments and talking about what's going on. So we'll lead off with the Lance Hurd news. Of course, Michael Sutherland, pay that man Lance Hurd. Here's what I've heard. Okay. What I'm hearing is that he didn't travel with the team. It could be a grades issue. I can't confirm nor deny that. The only reason I would even put that out there is because historically speaking, if a player has played 12 games with the team and then doesn't travel the bowl game, a lot of times it is a grade issue. I have no evidence other than that to suggest that. But, of course, he talked to some reporters in the area and said he is considering entering the transfer portal. And what I'm hearing behind the scenes is that this is NIL related. It's also playtime related, but it's NIL money related. And LSU's in a weird spot with their NIL situation, just given there's a lot of NIL money dollars that are going to go out for that 2025 classes. We'll touch on a little bit. Of course, Harlem Berry making his decision January 3rd. So that'll be Wednesday. That'll be a big one. And then Bryce Underwood, January 6th. What is that? That must be a Saturday then, right? Yeah. So some big names dropping next week for LSU. 2 5-star number 1 running back and number 1 quarterback. LSU is expected to land both of them. You best believe some NIL dollars are going those guys' way. And, I'm hearing that, LSU brings back 4 out of 5 starters next year, including their 2 bookend sophomore offensive tackles, which are like possibly best in the country. I'm hearing NIL and playtime are things he's looking for. He's an elite offensive line prospect, and I'm hearing that, look for a school like an Ole Miss to play a factor. Someone who's really doling out some NIL dollars, getting some serious players right now. What's your general feel on the Lance Hurd situation, Zach?
Yeah, kind of doubling down on what you said. I think there's a bunch of different factors. Obviously, you can't rule out grades. You can't rule out, X, Y, and Z. For the most part, look, Lance was about as coveted as they come coming out of high school. 5-star prospect, right up the road from Baton Rouge. So this is a guy that was obviously on LSU's radar for a long time. And, the spiel was that he was going to come to Baton Rouge and push for that starting left tackle spot. And obviously his former high school teammate and, a prized player of this offensive line, and Will Campbell, has already taken that spot. So there's been a lot of shuffling with the offensive line. Obviously, we saw Emory Jones move around. We saw Lance Hurd hop in there at tackle, guard. We've seen a bunch of different rotations with the talent that they have at the line. So if I could guess, if you want to rule out the grades aspect of things, it's got to be a big-time playing time situation. So
Right.
you have Will Campbell coming back. He's going to be your starter next season. It's done, sealed, delivered. So Lance Hurd might be the type of situation where, look, he wants to go somewhere else and get that starting left tackle spot and move on from there. NIL could be a factor for sure. In this day and age, you can't rule that out in any way, shape, or form. But for somebody of Lance Hurd's caliber, he firmly believes that he should be, starting as a sophomore. And whether it's the left tackle, right tackle, whatever spot it is, he firmly believes that he is a tackle at this level. And it'll be a matter of time to see what he does. And yeah, like you said, is he going to come back? Is he going to enter the portal? What is it? I wouldn't be surprised if he decided to, go elsewhere. But I also wouldn't be surprised if he came back, if he's willing to sit around and, get the playing time that he thinks he can get here at LSU. So it's a tricky situation, and time will tell on this one for sure. But him not being in Tampa is certainly, a headliner.
He absolutely is a quality enough player to be an offensive tackle in the SEC. There's zero doubt in my mind about that. It's just LSU happened to just stumble upon two absolute studs, probably the best two offensive tackles they've ever signed in one class with Emory Jones and Will Campbell there. I do wonder if maybe they experimented moving Emory Jones on the inside and putting Lance Hurd on the outside and seeing how that goes. And then it really became one of those, if it ain't broke, don't fix it situations, because they weren't working as well. And the offense was cooking. I mean, you literally had the number one offense in the country. So it's like one of those things that, like, yeah, you want to get the freshman offensive tackle out there, but do you want to do it at the cost of not having the top ranked offense in the country? It just was one of the, my mind goes to maybe an off season, especially with that center position. Could you slide Emory Jones in to play center? I know he's a particularly coordinated player and could play that position if need be. Then there's the question of, okay, are you going to take a better offensive lineman and play him at center instead of tackle because you think another guy has a lot of upside? It's a weird situation.
Well, it's tricky because what you said, like, if it ain't broke, don't fix it type thing. And
right.
When you look at it the way it is, you have a Joe Moore finalist offensive line. Like, this is a group that obviously, you have the offensive weapons in your arsenal, like Jaden Daniels, Malik Neighbors, Brian Thomas. Like, your skill position players were astounding. But at the end of the day, it starts in the trenches, and this offensive line was fantastic. So you're obviously going to try to throw somebody in at center like DJ Chester. Would you be willing to move Emory Jones to center? Probably not.
Right.
But at the end of the day, I think it's a matter of, Lance Hurd would probably have to wait another year before he was taking significant snaps. And is he willing to sit back and be patient in this day and age when it's so easy to kind of jump ship and, go get a bag somewhere and also get a starting role? Like, it's a really tricky situation. And I'm really, really intrigued to see how this plays out, because I know Lance, and he's a really positive, upbeat guy. So if he did make the decision to leave Baton Rouge, it wouldn't be this, easy call for him. So I'm really intrigued to see how this one plays out. And obviously, we're going to wish the best of luck to Lance no matter what he does, because he's such a coveted player. But at the end of the day, this offensive line is not slowing down anytime soon. You're bringing in a lot of talent through the 2024 recruiting class. You already have talent in that position room already. So, look, all the best to Lance. But at the end of the day, this Brad Davis has that ship, sailing very, very strong.
Michael Eunice with a good comment that's kind of adjacent to this. NIL is a blessing and a curse to college football. I love that young athletes can make side money with their NIL, but we also just straight up paying them to play like the ZH rumor. Oh, it was a Lance Hurd. Okay, I'm so used to calling him Lance Hurd.
Yeah.
And yeah. I mean, it is a blessing and a curse. I think ultimately NIL is starting to be better for college football than it is worse. It is both. Understand that, right? But I think about things like Jaden Daniels wouldn't have played college football this year if it weren't for NIL. He would have probably gone for that NFL money. He was on the fence. He would have been about a 4th, 5th round draft pick last year. And they said, look, come back, play again, and work your way up while you can make some money. I think that while you can make money, I think for a lot of guys, I think about Jalen Milroe returning from Alabama, which he would probably be a 4th or 5th round grade quarterback, right? Instead, he gets to make similar money to a 4th or 5th round grade quarterback, right? And play at Alabama and compete to win a Heisman while improving his draft stock. I think there's going to be a lot more retention in that respect. I do think they really need to adjust some rules. This transfer portal just being open with no consequence. Everybody gets one free transfer. And combined with NIL,
now you got a multi-year transfer. Now you can transfer twice with this new.
The grad transfer rule, right?
Well, no, with the new rule that they just passed last week or whatever, you can be a multi-time transfer and you're immediately eligible next fall now. So you saw somebody like Deuce Chestnut.
Did you actually read? Yeah, I did see that, but did you like read through it? Because like, there's got to be a cap on that, right?
Well, just next fall you can be immediately eligible, which is why Deuce literally entered the portal damn near 2-3 days after it was passed, because Deuce Chestnut was obviously a one-time transfer from Syracuse LSU, and now he has the option to go elsewhere and be immediately eligible again. So look, it's the wild, wild west, like you were kind of alluding to. Man. So it's crazy. And look, kind of to come back and hit on that again. It's just for next fall where you can be a multi-time transfer and be immediately eligible. They will probably put a cap on it. They will probably regulate it, but for the time being, you can go somewhere else as a 2-time transfer and damn near be immediately eligible. So yeah, man, like you were saying, it's a crazy time that we're living in.
It's wild. They need to fix it. I put out a bunch of things. First off, they need to make the transfer portal. They need to back it up to February or whatever, because I mean, right now it's causing teams and players and coaches to abandon the bowl season. Is just a disaster right now, objectively. Although the Pop-Tarts Bowl is doing some work for us tonight. Mm-hmm. But you gotta do something to fix this postseason. It is an objective nightmare. How many? I mean, Wisconsin has 7 players opting out for the bowl game. LSU's losing their Heisman Trophy winner for the bowl game. I mean, you can't tell me that the sport of football isn't better with that. So there's some goods and some bads going on with NIL and stuff. And I don't think we talk about the good enough. Again, Jaden Daniels even playing this year is the good, and it's a big kind of good. Man. So we'll see on Lance Hurd. Don't be surprised. You should be worried if you want him on your roster. You should be worried, just because I always put myself in the head of the kid. What if it was my son? And if it was my son, I could understand, hey, man, go make some money and get some playtime next year. Yep. I could see it, but it's probably bad for the players overall to have this just colossal mess of, playing for one team, then one team, then one team. Some continuity would probably help develop the players, especially the NFL prospect players, a bit better in the long run. But that's neither here nor there. All right, Zach, Pop-Tart Bowl. What's your favorite Pop-Tart? Because that's
it's been like all over my feed. Like it's been the only thing on my Twitter feed lately.
Please don't say you've never had a Pop-Tart.
Probably s'mores. Probably the s'mores one.
Okay, all right. I'm with you. Finally, s'mores is my favorite.
That one's good. Cookies and cream's good. I'll probably go s'mores.
Yeah, I'm a big savory guy. So the fruit stuff, no matter what,
it's disgusting.
It's always behind. Disgusting, man. So like a strawberry Pop-Tart?
No.
Like
a Nutri-Grain bar. Oh, you couldn't catch me eating a Nutri-Grain bar.
That's so strong. That's such. Look, I will tolerate a blueberry, strawberry. I don't like the brown sugar ones. I mean, it just blah. I like the s'mores and Oreos are my favorite. So I'm glad we're on the same page on that. All right, guys.
Those are the best.
We're going to talk a couple sponsors real quick, and then we're going to transition into this bowl game, talking about who should step up and talk about what Wisconsin's going to bring to the table. But, of course, we're going to talk about celebrity theaters first, guys. It's Louisiana's only locally owned theater in the state with locations in Baton Rouge and Ruston. Guys, for years, Celebrity Theaters has been committed to providing a total family entertainment to its patrons. Because it's locally owned and operated, you're guaranteed to see a clean facility, better pricing, superior customer service, state-of-the-art technology, and of course, the Baton Rouge location has an invigorating arcade featuring over 50 games. It's the largest in town. It's got a bar featuring wine, beer, frozen drinks, oversized leather reclining seats, and of course, it has the Dolby Atmos 3D sound system complete with the largest screen in Baton Rouge. So y'all make sure to check out Celebrity Theaters, my favorite theater. All right, we're now about Alumni Hall, guys. If you missed out on the Christmas gifts or you got some returns to make or gift cards, whatever Christmas cash, go get your gear at Alumni Hall. They do have bowl game attire there available. Hey, Tiger fans, would you want to show your LSU Tiger pride? Alumni Hall is your ultimate shopping experience. The best and largest apparel for the whole family. Nike, Nike Golf, Columbia, Champion, Peter Millar, Southern Tide, hats, Yeti, gifts, accessories, and more. LSU students, faculty, and military receive 10% off in-store every day. You can earn cashbacks in their Hall Pass Rewards program. Alumni Hall, located in Perkins Row, or anytime at alumnihall.com. Alumni Hall, where the Tiger fans shop. Hey, Zach, does LSU play like a football game anytime soon?
Relatively big one coming up on Monday.
Relatively. Well, I mean, relative. Let's not put the Reliaquest Bowl. They play on Monday. And for me, the theme I've noticed, what makes this game interesting is it's an audition game for a lot of young players and coaches. Number one, and I'm actually, a lot of people might think the biggest audition is Garrett Nussmeier. I actually think the biggest audition is for Joe Sloan and Cortez Hankton. They'll be co-OCs calling plays. I think he went with a co-OC approach specifically because he wanted to audition the guys. Now, I particularly look at Joe Sloan. I think this is Joe Sloan's job to lose. I think Joe Sloan would have to go out there and call a god-awful game to not get promoted to OC. I'm very impressed with him as a coach. He's an incredibly bright and intelligent guy. Recruits rave about him. What are you looking forward to see from those two? Or is there anything you're looking for out of them out in the bowl game?
Yeah, I mean, when it comes to Joe Sloan, obviously, you talk about what he can do on the recruiting trail. Obviously, players love him. Players love what he brings to the table. He's a tremendous player development coach. We saw what he did with Jaden Daniels in a short period of time. Right. So, look, when it comes to what he can do off the field, it's very impressive. I'm intrigued to see what he can do on the field as the offensive coordinator, co-offensive coordinator. It's a big day for him. I truly believe that he's right there in the mix to take over as offensive coordinator full time. Obviously, Cortez Hankton's going to be auditioning right there next to him, but I have high aspirations for somebody of Joe Sloan. I think he has the caliber. I think he has the chance to get it done. I'm very intrigued.
Who's your favorite to get the OC job next year?
I'd have to say I'd love to see an in-house hire like Joe Sloan.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people are on that wavelength right now, and I think Monday's going to be big for him. I'm just leave it at that.
I concur with you 100% on that. I think Joe Sloan will get the job. I think it's Joe Sloan's job to lose, and I like that idea of hiring that, especially given how much other continuity is going to be in place. I'm looking to see if they can adapt the offense to what Nussmeier brings. Now, obviously, they're probably going to be using mostly the Den Brock playbook that he left behind, right? It'd be ridiculous unless Joe Sloan's been ready to be an OC for years, or Cortez Hankton, they had it on the back burner, like, we're running the veer, guys, or something crazy like that. It should look pretty similar, and I don't think they're installing a new offense at all. But can you adapt the offense to a new talent at quarterback who's a very different player than Jaden Daniels? And can you do it in a way that looks consistent? The thing is about a lot of gunslingers like Garrett Nussmeier, even though he's toned it down, gunslingers can be sporadic, man. I mean, they can be all over the place, and you get a lot of drives that sputter out simply because they aren't willing to take the dink and dunk stuff that's there. They're always trying to push the ball downfield, and you get 0 yards twice in a row, and it's 3rd and 10. So I'm looking for consistent movement, not necessarily a ton of big plays, because I think Garrett Nussmeier is the kind of guy who is going to get his big plays, right? And Wisconsin's defense ranks 31st, so it's a serviceable defense. Not a daunting task. I think you should be able to get some big plays on Wisconsin. They got defenders missing too, by the way. Let's see. I'm gonna read this. They got, and I have no idea how good these guys are, but they're missing Jordan Turner, a linebacker. They're missing Jason Mater, a cornerback. And most of the other five are all on offensive side of the ball. They're of course missing their all conference running back. So that's what I'm looking for out of those OCs is that I'm looking for something different out of Nussmeier, believe it or not. By the way, that's our second guy we're going to talk about auditioning. Garrett Nussmeier, the Nuss Bus. Where's music at, man? Has nobody commented Nuss Bus yet? Let's see.
Dude, the Nuss Bus is rolling. It's his time now.
They've waited so long.
Mm-hmm.
So long, and I'm so happy the Nuss Bus gets to finally depart for all of those guys. Anyways, what I'm looking for Nussmeier, first off, if he struggles in this game with Brian Thomas and Malik Neighbors playing, that's a warning. That is a red flag because it's not getting easier next year. I'm not going to say it's the bad spot, but I mean, you're talking about 2 first-round wide receivers that you're going to be throwing the ball to. You should move the ball very well, especially against, 31st ranked defense, Wisconsin. Man, I'm hoping he takes his checkdowns. I'm hoping he works on his middle passing game and isn't too gunslingery. I also want to see, he clocked it like 20 miles an hour in fall camp. Does he run? Do you think he moves the ball with his legs?
I'm intrigued to see how he plays on the field, but to me, just the moment of it all is something that I'm intrigued with. He's been waiting for a long time, and we had the chance to talk to him last week about the moment and, how he's just like kind of dove into his faith and just being patient with the process to get to this point, sitting behind Jaden Daniels, learning from him, sitting alongside Joe Sloan and learning from him. So, look, on the field, I think a lot of people are going to be expecting some results just because he's such a talented player. Like you said, he's a gunslinger. He's not scared to make the big-time play. But for me, I'm kind of more looking at the bigger picture here. I think getting his first start under his belt is key, carry that momentum into spring camp, and then, head into next fall with him as your QB1, hopefully. And I'm really looking at the bigger picture here and the moment. Not necessarily what he can produce on the field just yet, because it's going to take time for him to get into a groove with these weapons that he has, because he's just not accustomed to taking significant snaps yet.
By the way, in terms of losing Denbrock, guys, I do want to give you my overall opinion. I don't think I've done a show since then. Last week, we did the signing day show, which was heavy with, it was signing day eve, and we had what's his name? Colin Hurley filled in for Zack, actually, and Colin was great. And also, we didn't get to talk. Denbrock, I think, is a good coordinator. I'm not the kind of guy who's ever like going to have sour grapes. A coach left, and all of a sudden I'm like, well, he wasn't a good coach anyways. It was all Jaden Daniels. Never going to be like that. I think he's a good coach. I think he's been around for a very long time. He called some good offenses at Cincinnati with Desmond Ridder doing his thing there. And he called pretty good offenses overall at LSU. He went 19-7. I think LSU lost a good coach. That being said, there were some things, even with this insanely talented. The NFL draft, by the way, is going to prove exactly what I'm talking about. This is an insanely talented team. In fact, I think I saw someone talking about Jaden Daniels' draft. Here it is. Todd Davis. Jaden Daniels expected to be drafted 4th overall. Right. You got the 4th overall quarterback. You got a receiver who's going to go in the top 10, and you got Brian. Where do you think Brian Thomas gets drafted? You'll probably say top 5. No, you would take him top 5.
I'm a huge Brian Thomas fan. I saw a mock draft today that had him go 10th to the Falcons or something. Yeah. I don't think he goes top 10. I don't think he goes top 15. Make me vomit. But I'd like to see him go late first round. Let's be realistic here. I'm not going to sit here and fanboy over Brian Thomas. I think he's a fantastic player.
All right, would NFL GM Zack Nagy, though, take him top 10?
This is a guy who I have been high on for quite some time now. I think Preston obviously knows it. But
I know.
If we're going to be realistic here, I'm going to say probably fringe first round, probably around that.
Yeah, I think he'll go in the top 20.
I would see. Look,
top 25. Top 25.
You said it, not me. I can't be a fanboy, but you can say it.
Dude, and look, we talk about this at the press box from time to time. Like, I see you, the way your eyes glow when you see Brian Thomas out there. But anyways, I mean, it's gonna be one of those things you look back on and you say, "Dang, it's a lot of talent." But that being said, there were some moments that were questionable in terms of play calling with Denbrock. Some moments that like really highlighted, abilities to not just have a good offense, but an offense that can get the plays when you need them. I think about goal line situations. There seemed to be a lack of creativity, except for Georgia State. That's when they got creative and read that boot. Remember the bootleg against Georgia State with Jade Daniels on 4th down? That was so good. I thought that other times it kind of lacked a little creativity. You know what is always going to stick out to me as just a cardinal sin that Denbrock had this year? The Ole Miss pass to who's the running back I'm thinking of here? The guy who dropped it on like 3rd and down, whatever. Caleb Jackson. Remember the Ole Miss? Not a wheel route, but it was to the flat.
Over Caleb Jackson's head on the right side.
It wasn't. No, Caleb Jackson just dropped.
He just blatantly dropped it. Okay.
Yeah, it was on the right side, but it was like with the game on the line, right? With the game on the line, you go to the freshman running back who's had troubles catching the ball out of the backfield. And I'm a big Caleb Jackson fan, but you remember the pick six? I think it was Greg Brooks actually got a pick six in fall camp. Remember that? Caleb, it's the same swing pass, by the way. Caleb Jackson just bobbled it. I mean, he's a guy who hasn't developed his catching out of the backfield yet. And to put the ball in his hands when you need it most like that's one of those things as a veteran OC, you should have been on top of that, man. I mean, really, like you should have made sure that Logan Diggs or Josh Williams, one of your receiving out of the backfield guys, was catching that. So there were some moments that I kind of question with Denbrock. It is possible the whole, having Heisman Trophy quarterback and all these first round talents, it's kind of carried him. But overall, I'm not going to sit here and be like, oh yeah, he was a bad coach. I think Notre Dame got a good coach. I think it's 2 hours from home. It'd be like Zack Nagy taking a job on the LSU beat, right?
Literally.
I mean, about an hour and a half. It's home. Mm-hmm. It's home. I'm sure Sports Illustrated might offer you a little more money to go to the Wisconsin beat, but you know what? You're home. It'd have to be a pretty tough situation to pass up being home. But the third player I'm going to highlight stepping up in a big role. How about Dashawn Womack? Did you hear what he said?
Dashawn Womack.
Oh yeah. How about so Dashawn Womack told reporters today that he's going to be starting at Jack linebacker in the dime set, which, by the way, Wisconsin does run an air raid offense. It's not a very good air raid offense. They rank 97th in passing.
Yeah.
So that's one of the reasons I really love this matchup, because where do you attack LSU? You pass. And to rank 97th, I think you need to be a little bit better than 97th in the country in passing. And by the way, they're starting running back Braylon Allen, who ran for right under 1,000 yards, is all Big Ten performer. He's out too, so they're really going to have to rely on Tanner Mordecai in that passing game. And by the way, 2 receivers are also opting out: Chimiki Dyke and Skylar Bell. I don't know if any of them are good or whatever. I haven't gone through Wisconsin like that, but I do know that that's a lot of players that are missing in spots. Anyways, Dashawn Womack on dime sets, I love it. I suppose they're talking about the like a 3-2 setup where the jack is technically a linebacker, but playing more like a 4-1 situation, because your jack linebacker is going to be rushed. I love that for Dashawn Womack, and I hope he plays a big role in this game because he's flashed a lot of talent. Looking to see what he does, because it's particularly defensive end has struggled quite a bit. So I think that's a guy I'm looking to step up in a big kind of way. What are you expecting to see from him?
Yeah, I mean, I think Dashawn Womack is obviously as talented as they come up front, and he didn't necessarily get significant reps this season, and a lot of people were questioning why. It's like, why isn't he on the field? Why isn't he doing this? Why isn't he doing that? And Brian Kelly would kind of say, hiccup his words. Sometimes he would say he was ready. Sometimes he would say he wouldn't. There's still some, things that he needs to develop on. So when I'm looking ahead to this game on Monday, I'm ready to see him get significant reps under his belt, prove what he can do. And obviously, I look at Wisconsin as a good team, but I think it's a very, very big opportunity for Dashawn Womack to shine. Again, like I was saying about Garrett Nussmeier, carry the success in the spring and then carry it into the fall, because I think Womack's going to play a key role for the future of this program. So look, I think this is a massive opportunity for him to shine, and I'm really, really excited to see what he can do. I was hoping that would be one of the 3-4 names that you mentioned when you're talking about guys
Now
who are
I'm
going
gonna
to have a
make
big
you
time
answer
audition.
this before the bowl game. I'm sure after the
Mhm.
bowl game you'll be way more prepared. You think Womack starts next year?
I would be absolutely shocked if he didn't start. I think
Okay.
Dashawn Womack is going to be your go-to guy for the foreseeable future on this defense. You need a heavy hitter. You need somebody who can bring that it factor, and I
Yeah.
think that's going to be your guy for the future. I mean, he's a 5-star for a reason, and
Right.
he's shown flashes during fall camp. He showed flashes during the season, and now it's go time. Now you get your chance to shine in a real game situation. It's a bowl game, and certainly there are opt-outs and players in the portal and stuff, so you don't have your full strength, but look, I expect Dashawn Womack to do big things for this program for the foreseeable future.
I'm hoping he can be better at outside run contain, not just
Yep.
pass rush, because he's
Mhm.
known as a pass rusher, but he has a lot of speed. And I wonder now. Understand outside run contain is more about technique, less about speed. But
Yeah.
speed helps. It helps with everything. Typically, if you're running full speed on outside run contain, it's because you didn't get good leverage. Your shoulders weren't square, and you have to turn around and run after a running back from behind. And unless your name is Barkevius Mingo, you don't catch running backs from behind if you're a defensive line. You remember that play, Barkevius Mingo
I
catching
was a big fan of Mingo, man.
oh yeah. Oh
Mhm.
yeah. He caught I'm trying to remember the running back for Oregon, but he was like a Heisman finalist the year before. Jonathan someone get the Oregon running back's name. It was 2011. My CTE is kicking in here. But anyways, looking for him to step up in a big way. 3 guys to watch for the bowl game, or technically 4 guys, because Cortez Hankton and Joe Sloan, which don't sleep on Cortez Hankton, by the way. He's doing some really good work. This wide receiver room looks really good. And I couldn't help but listen to some Georgia fans complaining in the space the other night about not having enough receiver talent. I was like, if only y'all had a quality wide receivers coach
Yep.
like LSU does. Just tease it with them mostly. But let's get to a few comments here. Trey Guy, what's up, cuz? And Zack, jumping in late. Hurt is a gone pecan. Or is it really about money? Is he a guy LSU really wants? All right. I'm going to go piece by piece here. Is he gone like a pecan? I wouldn't say that, but you should be sweating. Yeah, money is a big factor. Playing time is a big factor. I don't actually know which order those come in, but yeah, I would be really weary of a school like Ole Miss maybe coming in, and because they're cooking with the NIL, and it's like Ole Miss going all in on next year, doesn't it?
I mean, they're throwing bags around left and right. It's actually ridiculous. And you could say that, like at the same time, you could say like they're like, kind of putting all their eggs in one basket for next season. But a lot of these guys have multiple years of eligibility, so it's almost like Lane Kiffin's
Yeah,
kind of
that's true.
building this team for 2 to 3 years. Like it's pretty impressive. So yeah, I'm gonna piggyback on what you said. I think Ole Miss in anybody in the free agent market is a team to watch out for. But Trey, sticking with your question right there, is it about money? What's it about? Who knows? But certainly, this is a guy that you really want to keep around. You have a
Now,
talented offensive line room, but I mean, Lance Hurd is up there with your top guys. This is a guy who's going to be a key piece to what you're doing. So yeah, I mean, losing him is pretty big in my opinion. It's not monstrous. Like you're not going to blow this out of proportion because you have bodies in that room. But Lance Hurd is an extremely talented player, coveted 5-star prospect. So
right.
to lose him would obviously be a huge deal.
Um, to answer the back half of his question, it's the guy LSU wants. It is not a guy LSU needs. They got 4
Beautiful.
out of 5 offensive linemen returning. Are you kidding me? They don't need him. This ain't like losing Paraloo in 2008, guys. Where you just had a walk-on and a freshman who looks like a deer in headlights, man. And you just signed 6 offensive linemen and a 5-star Weston Davis coming in this year. If he leaves, you're going to be fine. In fact, your offensive line is going to be even better next year with or without him. It's clearly a want, not need situation. So do I think LSU should empty out its collective money and, do everything they can to retain him and miss on guys like a Bryce Underwood? No, I don't feel that way. But anyways, good comment, cousin Trey. Let's see here. Do you think we would have had the number 1 offense if Daniels wouldn't have taken off running for 30 yards when plays don't work? No, right? Like if you take away Jaden Daniels' ability to run, and replace it with, I don't know, just a decent runner. Let's say he runs for 500 instead of 1,400 yards or whatever he ran for this year. Do you think it's still number one offense?
The answer is hell no.
Yeah.
Jaden Daniels, I'm not going to say Jaden Daniels made that offense because he had so many weapons in his arsenal, and Mike Denbrock had some phenomenal play calls. But, I mean, look, that's your Heisman Trophy winner. So you take away a Heisman Trophy winner and what he can do with his legs and just a dynamic play style. No, you don't have the number one offense.
I agree with you on that. Now, it's still pretty good offense, I think, because Jaden Daniels in that deep ball, but no, not number one.
Correct.
Hold up. I'm trying to get this comment up here. Count Money or Count D Money at Preston. I love you. Love you too, buddy. Zack, shout out Holy Cross. Kobe Young. I assume that's a player for Holy Cross who hasn't gotten an LSU. Are you familiar with him?
Yeah, Kobe Young, he might have been offered by LSU. It might have been one of those non-committable. You never know anymore.
Right.
But, yeah, he was committed to Georgia Tech for a while and backed off his pledge and actually just signed with Houston. So, yeah, shout out Kobe Young. He's doing his thing over down at Holy Cross.
Holy Cross. Did Will Clapp go there?
He went to Brother Martin.
Brother Martin. Oh, so like the arch nemesis. I'm just mixing it all up.
The Catholic League's the Catholic League.
Yeah, who would Holy Cross's arch nemesis be?
Jesuit.
Oh, okay. All right. So the Foster Moros. All right. I see. By the way, LaMichael James. That was his name. The running back for Oregon. LaMichael James. It's killing me, man. Look, there it is. Mingo chased down LaMichael James. Appreciate you, Todd Davis. Hey, guys, if you haven't already, do me a favor. Smash the like button of this show so we get our analytics out there. Let the people know our show's going on. We're doing a Thursday night show tonight. A lot of people are expecting us on a Monday. So make sure to hit that like so we get people knowing, our show is on a special night today. We're going to get to a couple ads. I want to talk about the Brian Kelly rumors, I guess we'll call. I think rumors is even strong, but because it's a big topic of conversation, I feel like I have to do my due diligence and give you my take on it. But anyways, we're going to talk a little bit about Celebrity Theaters real quick, guys. They do weekly promotions at all their stores here. It's really good stuff. Senior Savings Days where you get $5 off for all patrons over the age of 55 all day. You get Tuesday, Bargain Tuesday, discounted movie tickets and concessions for all. Wednesday is College Night where admission for college students after 5 p.m. is $5. Baton Rouge location also has half off arcades all day long. And of course, Thursday at the Baton Rouge location is their Thirsty Thursday where you have discounted bar items. All right, guys, we also got to talk about Koala. All right, guys, the team at Koala Installation of Baton Rouge are your residential and commercial energy efficiency experts. The approach is Koala provides not only help reduce your energy bills and maintain a more comfortable living environment, but they can also reduce airborne allergens and water condensation issues. They help with wear and tear on your HVAC system and even lengthen the life of your roof and shingles. The Koala team provides existing homeowners with a doctor's diagnosis of your home's energy efficiency and can offer several strategies to help you stay more comfortable and save money on energy bills all year long. Koala has the capacity to tackle large spray foam projects and new home construction while being available to help everyday homeowners get some relief from South Louisiana's extreme weather. As an added bonus, most of Koala's projects qualify for federal income tax credit. Give Koala a call today at 225-457-1001 to schedule your free energy efficiency assessment. And tell them you heard it from TigerBait.com for 7% off your order. I got to say, of all the script reads I do over the years, Koala might be one of the toughest just because of all them big words in there. All right, let's see here. Trey Guy, I destroyed the like button. Everyone do the same. Destroy it, guys. I don't want it to exist anymore. I want it to say 0 because the number went up too high. Okay. And look, Fireman, you let how many people beat you to the like button comment tonight? LSU looks to have 4 of the top 18 players for 2025. Brian Kelly ain't going nowhere. And that's. Well, let's just dive into that. That's a good comment. But
Before we get to that, you want to get to a little Denver Harris just entered the transfer portal.
While we were on air?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, man. Well, thank you for bringing that. Thank you for scrolling Twitter while we're on air, man. I appreciate you. All right.
Got a little text message.
Oh, you got a text message? Man, nobody sent me a text message unless my wife is texting me about it. But I generally, when my wife texts me during the show, I just kind of move on. I look for like a Mike Scarborough. You know, what's funny? My dad will text me sometimes when something pops off, or like, you know, he'll be like, "Hey, your mic's a little low," or something like that. Anyways, all right. Denver Harris enters the transfer portal. Who's that per?
On 3, put it out first.
On 3, put it out. Okay, so we can trust On 3. So Denver Harris is, of course, a guy who played about 2 or 3 games this year and mysteriously was just unavailable for the rest of the year. And it's a situation where him and Deuce Chestnut, I mean, I'd never heard of players just being unavailable and out like that. Not surprising, though, to see that they're going back to the transfer portal. And Denver Harris is also a guy who's going to use that multiple transfer rule, right?
Yep.
Not surprising, because anytime you got a guy who's just not gelling and the defense really wasn't good with him in there, and a highly coveted guy like a Denver Harris, you have to question if he was gelling with the team very well. And honestly, this is something we probably should have seen from. I'm surprised it took this long to hear anything. Is there any? Do you have any guess as to what the mysterious unavailable for 9 weeks thing was with him?
Look, my thing with Denver Harris is the same spiel that I've given on several occasions. He was given a second chance to play SEC football. Brian Kelly gave him that chance. Obviously, Denver was high on LSU coming out of high school, so it was a school that was on his radar once he was departing A&M. And Brian Kelly had him on a tight leash. I think that anytime he made a mistake, anything of that nature, I think it was immediate, you're done for now. Let's see what next week. And I think it was a week-by-week basis.
Right.
Obviously, that's speculation. Brian Kelly's done a very good job of keeping the whole Denver Harris situation close to the vest. So, again, nothing confirmed on the whole Denver Harris situation, why he didn't play the back half of the season. But, look, he played in 5 games, and he wasn't spectacular for LSU. And now he has the opportunity to go somewhere else and try to get his football, get his game back on track. So, I don't know where he would end up. I wouldn't imagine it's at a significant Power 5 institution right now, like an SEC program.
That's what I was about to say.
Look, he's gonna have an opportunity to get back on track and play some football, because, look, he's a talented guy. He was a 5-star prospect, and it's a matter of time until he can get his feet back underneath him. So, you lose another cornerback, Deuce Chestnut. You lost Terrence Welch, Denver Harris. So you're losing some guys in the defensive backfield, but you got reinforcements on the way. So it's not the end of the world.
If I just had to guess as to what was going on with him this year, I would guess that, it's one of those situations where you're talking about a guy who's had some off the field stuff. Remember the garage incident at Texas A&M and some issues here and there. And then a guy who's getting pulled because he's not playing well enough against Grambling. And a guy, there probably was some headbutting going on with coaching staff, players, that kind of deal. And probably he didn't like that, and coaches were just no nonsense. I'm just speculating. I don't know. I don't have any inside scoops. I'm just reading the writing on the wall. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But I tend to agree with you that after 2 stints at Texas A&M and LSU that were objectively unsuccessful, I do expect him to not end up at, I don't see him ending up at Georgia, you know what I mean? Or Alabama. I see him probably going to give a smaller school a chance. I wish they would have given him a look throughout the end of the year. There were some things I liked from him at cornerback in the limited action. We got to see him, but overall,
I think the writing was on the wall for somebody like Denver Harris. I think it was pretty much understood that he wouldn't be returning to the program next season, and you had to put the ball, you had to put your youngsters on the field, like Jeremiah Hughes, Ashton Stamps, Javian Toviano, work with somebody who's a redshirt sophomore and Sage Ryan. So I think it was imperative that you let your youngsters develop over the course of the last
couple I understand
games.
He was a youngster too, though. He's a sophomore.
But you knew he wasn't coming back. So you don't want to waste snaps on somebody like Denver Harris when you know he's probably not going to come back to the program. But yeah, man, like this is a young guy. Like you said, he's a young guy. It would have been nice to see him on the field, but it just wasn't in the cards, I feel like, for him.
Yeah, I tend to agree with you. The writing was on the wall. And just one of those situations. If you couldn't crack it in this defensive backfield,
See, look, I was waiting for one of us to say that. I was waiting for one of us to kind of like rip the Band-Aid off and say that. But yeah, I completely agree. And now you're bringing in 6 new defensive backs for the 2024 class. So it's revamped, it's retooled, and now you got to work with what you got. And obviously, Denver Harris isn't going to be one of the guys that you got. So you move on and you do with what you can.
It's not going to be a loss where I'm like updating LSU's win-loss record next year.
Has there been anybody that's entered the portal where you've kind of just been like, whoa, or like that's a significant loss?
Probably the biggest, Marlon Martinez.
But
again, I think there might be some things that were going on there that we weren't privy to. Because I'm wondering, did DJ Chester run him off?
You and I talked about that before. I think that's an extremely fair assumption.
And then the other question is, did the threat of moving one of these other 30 monster offensive linemen that Brad Davis has brought in, did the threat of just one of those guys might scoot in and steal your spot next year? Now, he ended up at Mississippi State. And that's one of the reasons.
Football player, like he's a talented guy.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Like, and I liked what he did. I also think about Quincy Wiggins, who went to Colorado. I use the destinations a lot of time to really kind of get a scouting report from the coaches. Like, ultimately, if a dude ends up going to Southern, and he isn't getting interest from major schools, there's a reason for that. They have his film. They know what they're looking for, and it didn't fit any of these guys. So when a guy ends up at a Mississippi State, you understand. I mean, that's probably a little bit of but it's still a little bit of a step down, but it's still an SEC program.
Yeah,
that's the one I look at. Quincy Wiggins going to Colorado. Some people think Colorado is a hot destination for recruits. The funny thing is with Colorado is seeing how many people commit there versus how many people stay committed there. Remember the offensive line?
What did you say last week? Hold on. What you said something last week?
Oh yeah. I said I'd like to see. It was Jordan Seaton I was talking about.
Was
offensive lineman?
Was it Drell? I thought it was like Drellon Miller or something.
I did. Which, by the way, Drellon Miller was another player who LSU was considering, and probably LSU was the front runner for a while. He ended up in Colorado. But my quote was, what I said was, I'd like to see where he's committed to in 365 days.
Yeah, and I thought that was actually hilarious. So yeah.
Like, I mean, really though, I guess the same applies for Quincy Wiggins. But if he couldn't cut it in LSU's defense, he had to go to a defense that was even worse than LSU's, and that's Colorado.
Man, like, when I'm looking at Quincy Wiggins, I think obviously super talented guy, top 55 recruit out of high school. I think not having a defensive line coach there this year really stunted his growth and hurt him in a big way. I think he has all the intangibles of being a fantastic player at the Power 5 level. It just wasn't going to happen in Baton Rouge. So when I'm looking at like a significant loss, it would probably be the two guys that you said, Marlon Martinez and Quincy Wiggins. I can't look at anybody else and just, have them jump off the page for me. So I agree with both those wholeheartedly. And I'm intrigued to see how Quincy Wiggins develops over the next 2 to 3 years, because he's a guy who just started playing football. He's fresh on the scene. So I'm intrigued to see his development over the next couple of years.
Which, by the way, you did a portal update like yesterday, right?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So let me see. Okay. Deuce Chestnut, obviously. I'm just looking at all the. I'm reading your story, by the way. I have it pulled up. I'm looking at the guys and where they landed. Deuce Chestnut, undecided. I think we all know Deuce Chestnut ain't ended up at some big Power 5 school, right? I mean, he played okay against Florida State. He did have that interception, but ultimately, dude got smoked.
Didn't play good against Florida State.
Dude got smoked. Everybody got smoked against Florida State.
And he got waxed, and then he bounced. Like,
and he was out of here.
That's what it was. So, I know we're both trying to be nice here, but at the end of the day, man, Deuce didn't.
You got to call a spade, man.
Yeah, beautiful. That's it. I'm not even going
to. And look, I'm not saying Deuce Chestnut. I understand. I'm criticizing his play, not the player. Right?
Exactly.
Go prove me wrong, Deuce Chestnut. But I mean, you didn't play as well as you would have liked to in those games. So I always try to be fair to the players themselves. Armani Goodwin, injured every year. UAB is his landing spot. Quincy Wiggins, Colorado. Fitzgerald West, undecided. I think he's the guy we're talking about, going to end up at a smaller school. And Fitzgerald West was a guy who's just getting buried, man. No matter what position he was playing, offense, defense, he was getting buried. McGowan, the tight end, Wisconsin. Now, okay, that's a guy you can understand, but I think with Tradez Green coming in and Mason Taylor coming back. I think that he's a guy who's like kind of sees what's going on.
Pimpton.
Not to mention
you got Kamorian Pimpton right there.
Kamorian Pimpton and Mac Markway.
Mm-hmm.
So it's very possible he's like your 5th tight end next year. You get it. You know what I mean? Like you absolutely see why. Bryce Langston, again, a guy, if you're not cracking it on this defensive line, when are you going to crack it? And to what defensive line will crack? Because Trey Bradford, North Texas. I mean, that speaks volumes. It speaks for itself. Terrence Welsh going to Arizona State. That's a respectable program. I think Terrence Welsh is a guy who got some play time here late, but didn't step up, and they're going to be looking for other guys who can step up. And that's it. So what is that? 1, 2, 3, 4.
10 total players have entered the portal.
10 total players in the portal. That's about where you end. It's 10 players, but it's 10 players, most of which you kind of saw the writing on the wall. I'd say the biggest head scratchers, Marlon Martinez, but even that is like, yeah, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, based on the Missouri game, I could see where that was coming from. Oh man, check out this. And this sounds just like Mike Scarborough last night. Mike Scarborough said Fitzgerald West had no business playing defensive line. Mike Scarborough, man, he's so particular about his defensive linemen. And if you listen to him on this recruiting class, he doesn't like the defensive linemen for this recruiting class either.
2024?
Yeah, he didn't like the 2024 defensive line.
He doesn't like Relaford?
I think he's okay with Relaford. I like Relaford.
I'm a big fan of what he brings.
We had him on the show, and he's very smart too, by the way.
He was fantastic.
But I think Relaford's a little thin. I mean, I think he's legitimately a top 150.
Oh, he was flexing for us and everything. He was trying to prove to us that he's not as small as some people might think. You're right.
What a fun guy to bring on the podcast. Like, I talk all the time, like, man, interviewing 16 and 17-year-old kids is just painful work sometimes. I mean, yeah, and I've done interviews this year with recruits that were pretty dreadful interviews. But it's what we got to do, man. We got to read the tea leaves on these kids. And what's even funnier is trying to interpret complex decisions these kids are making who have trouble articulating all their thoughts. But every once in a while you get a Gabriel Relaford, and then you get a Colin Hurley who literally writes columns for me.
Yeah, he's unbelievable.
Mason Smith was another one who was really good as a recruit, by the way. Every once in a while you get those dudes. Look, here's more on the Scarborough quote. Scarborough said the state has no defensive tackle for 2025. I haven't studied the list like that. I can't think of anybody. He might be right. You're going to have to go out of state and you need some defensive tackles. Now, I'll say this. The one thing I hated about the 2023 class, they didn't sign a defensive tackle. Guys, I harp on class composition like more than anybody. I think your recruiting class every year you need to be able to field a football team every single year. There's no excuse not to. I mean, maybe like 4 offensive linemen. Okay. Maybe you sign 3 or 4 defensive linemen and you really need 5 every. Don't be like having gaping holes where you sign 2 offensive linemen ever. Mm-hmm. There's no reason to sign 2 offensive line ever. And that was one of the things got Ogeron in trouble. DD Louisiana wants to know any speculation on the changes of the defensive coaching staff. I think they're definitely making a move at defensive line coach, but things are pretty quiet, right?
Yeah, I mean, I like to agree with that. And, Jimmy Lindsey's been kind of on the recruiting trail. He's been at practices. He's been kind of hands-on coach. So I think it's going to be interesting to see what they do with the defensive line coach, spot. I think he'll become an analyst. I think he'll stay on staff. But as for other moves, I think obviously after the bowl game, once the dust settles there, you'll start to see some things happen.
Right.
I would expect, 2 to 3 coaching changes on the defensive side of the ball. I wouldn't be surprised if it was the higher number, if it was 3. Things have to change on that side, and it's not going to happen overnight. And I think next week, get the bowl game behind you in the rearview mirror, and then you move on, and Brian Kelly starts to evaluate his coaching staff in a big, big way over the next couple of weeks.
I think LSU would be better off cleaning house on defensive side of the ball than retaining the defensive side of the ball. I think with the defense struggling the way it did, they need some major reworkings. I don't think this is a situation where you bring in one stud position coach and that's good enough. I think they need some major reworkings. Whether or not we get them, We will see, but the word is that they're going to retain Matt House. We'll see if that pans out, and I guess he's got one more bowl game to show off, right?
Yep.
I'm not sure that, stopping Wisconsin's 92nd ranked passing attack with their running back, 2 receivers, and 2 offensive linemen opting out of the bowl game is necessarily going to be the sell to your fans. I understand. When and if it's announced he's retained, there will be a melt on LSU Twitter.
Oh my goodness gracious! Yeah, without a doubt, man. It's gonna be a cold day on Twitter. I'll tell you that much. That's gonna have the whole LSU fan base in a frenzy.
Allow me to play devil's advocate momentarily. When you hire a $100 million coach like Brian Kelly, there should be some things he does that make you scratch your head as a fan because he's smarter than you.
Very intrigued to see where you were going down. I want to see what path you're going down with this.
He's smarter than me. He's a better football knowledge than me.
Where are you going?
There are some things that I should see him do, and I should be like, I don't agree with that. And if he's doing his job right, I should look like a moron. Period. I mean, honestly, that's how this works. Because
so with that being said, would you be like, if he retained Matt House, then that's the right decision because somebody as smart as Brian Kelly made that and he sees the bigger picture? Is that kind of like what
I'm
you're
really playing devil's advocate here? I think though, as bad as the defense is, you gotta nuke it, man. I mean, you got to do some serious changes because you're in some serious trouble. But
Understood.
If you're looking for some silver lining there, it's that, I mean, he's a guy who knows X's and O's. He knows what he's looking for in scheme, and he's won a lot of football games as a coach. And if we, the media, are questioning things he's doing, objectively, if he's doing smart things, yeah, he's smarter than us. He should make us look dumb from time to time. I hope he does. I love it when the 3-star kid that they went for, we all doubted him. Make us look dumb. Show us that you were able to find Tyrann Mathieu when the rest of us were like, man, that kid's 5'9". He ain't no good. Although I do have to give Mike Scarborough credit. Mark Scarborough was pushing the Rivals guys to put Tyrann Mathieu really high up because he filmed them and he was a beast when Mike Scarborough went out there. So anyways, that's my silver lining point there. I'm going to briefly address the BK rumors. It got derailed with the Denver Harris news there. We had to bring that up. I'm sure someone would have commented if you hadn't brought it up eventually, and we would have been more of a scramble. But anyways, let's talk about Spectre Sports art, guys. Guys, as you can see the artwork behind me, you can see the Dylan Cruz piece there. I'm going to see if I can minimize Zach real quick. All right, guys, you see the Dylan Cruz piece back here. Guys, let's get Spectre art. Jordan Spectre has been kind enough to sponsor our show this year. Guys, this is art that's guaranteed to catch the eye of any Tiger fan. It's the details that are going to hold your attention. Think about the little puzzle piece on his wrist tape there. It represents the Cruz crew where he helped disabled children come to the game. It's actually a big part of the Dylan Cruz storyline. His art tells a story every single time, guys. He's followed up the Smoke and Joe piece from 2020. And look, I'll put all the pieces up here. He's followed this up with just 5 more incredible pieces, including the Tommy Tanks piece. The coolest part of this artwork, guys, the athletes themselves are buying it and hanging it in their man caves. Look at the top right-hand corner. You can see Dylan Cruz's family purchased the original and put that in their man cave. Joe Burrow's family has a Joe Burrow Smoking Joe in their living room. That nothing speaks more about the quality of the artwork than seeing what the athletes themselves are buying. And guys, stay tuned. Sources are telling me there's a Jaden Daniels piece on the way. So make sure to keep an eye out. SpectreSportsArt.com/The Bayou. Guys, art is available in quality print or canvas of any size to fit any room and any budget. The art is straight from the box to your wall, ready to go. Make sure to visit the link in the description of this video to check out the entire Bayou collection and use our exclusive promo code TigerBait10 at checkout to get 10% off of your first set order. Guys, you're not going to be disappointed with this. Guys, and also, y'all know who our title sponsor is this year. All Celebrity Theaters locations house 8 to 10 auditoriums. Whether you're interested in hosting a birthday party, private movie screening, corporate meeting, or arcade party, guys, they've got the perfect facility to fit your needs. Celebrity Theaters is proud to offer birthday packages for children of all ages. Let us handle everything from movies to entertainment to setup to cleanup. For more information or book your birthday party online, visit celebritytheaters.com/events. If you're looking for an affordable venue for your next school event, fundraiser, you guys, you've come to the right place. Celebrity Theaters is a crowd pleaser for students, teachers, adults, and chaperones. To schedule your next birthday party online or family gathering, holiday party, corporate event, field trip, or whatever you may be looking for, just send them an email. celebrityevents@celebritytheaters.com. Zach, were you an arcade guy growing up at all?
Not really.
Not really. You don't have like a favorite like air hockey, basketball game, anything like that? Nothing. Don't care.
Basketball. Probably the basketball.
Okay, I figured you would.
Always
Did
try
you
to
play
pick
basketball in high school?
Yeah.
What position did you play?
Shooting guard.
Okay, that's what I was gonna say, shooting guard. But yeah, okay, that's about what I would say. Anyways,
The BK rumors.
I know. I'm trying to think about how to touch this.
I know. Moscona blew that out.
Should I make the? I don't know who he is.
You should.
Let it go. We're friends now. We're cool.
Yeah.
I don't know who Matt Moscona is. Host of 104.5 ESPN, Monday through Friday, 3 to 5 or 3 to 6. Anyways, it's an insight. Guys, if you don't remember the drama from before the season, Moscona on his morning show had a little thing where he inadvertently kind of took a shot at me, just the way he phrased it. Same kind of deal happened on his morning show. And he's explained this to me. I've talked to him where he's like, man, this morning show, I'm taking comments and letting it fire. There's no prep. It's just me talking with people about sports. And his thing he said was, he said, if Jim Harbaugh leaves for the NFL and if Michigan hires Brian Kelly, then Brian Kelly would accept the job offer with absolute certainty. And my general premise on that is that's a lot of dominoes that need to fall. Isn't Michigan in a playoff game? It's a lot of dominoes that need to fall. I don't think that with that many dominoes that need to fall and a subject of this much gravity, I don't really particularly find it appropriate. I just disagree with the whole then following that up with the certainty of he will. I'm sorry, he would accept the job offer. My second thought is, how do you know? Just really. I mean, I know how a lot of times this sourcing works. You have a trusted so-and-so and they have a pretty good feeling. Yeah, I think he would. How would you know for sure? I mean, even if he's told a friend that he would consider Michigan a better job, does he consider Michigan a better job with potential recruiting violations coming down the pike? Not recruiting violations, signal stealing violations.
Yeah.
Did you hear the news today that Nick Saban is asking players not to use their iPads in case it's been hacked by Michigan? Yeah, just in case, I just wonder if that could play. I just don't understand how you could. Did you talk to Brian Kelly himself and he'd be like, yeah, Michigan's my dream job? Why would Michigan be his dream job? Why, what's there? Like typically when you see things like that, it's like, well, there's a relationship. He graduated from Michigan. He's been talking about Michigan for years. There's nothing like that. There's nothing in place like that. I don't know exactly how you could have that level of certainty, but I do know Matt Moscona does a good job and vets his sources and can be generally trusted when it comes to stuff like that. He doesn't nonchalant. I just think the way he approached this topic was a little brazen. And my third point is you got such a recruiting class coming for 2025. You're building some at LSU. He has said this is his final stop. Of course, coaches can lie. That happens all the time. But man, I don't know. That's a lot of
you take the floor. I'm not saying a word.
You're not touching this one, huh? No. Oh, yeah. That's fine.
Look, my thing, and I guess I'll say like one thing about it is, I think Moscona is well respected in the industry by many people who are in the industry. of course, he was extremely, blunt about it. He said he was confident that he would take that job. And of course, sourcing and whatnot, sure. Like if you heard something, then say what you heard. But look, for me and most of the people in the industry, I'm just gonna run off of what Brian Kelly said, and he said it was the last stop on the Brian Kelly caravan. So, and I know that's the soundbite
Which
that you were
coaches lie.
referencing. Yeah, and so like that's just kind of like what I'm gonna hit and run with, and at the end of the day, whatever happens, happens. But Brian Kelly is in Baton Rouge now, and it's only it's where he said he wants to be. So that's the only thing that I can say on the subject.
And I'll say this: I'll be looking for a denial. The denials I look for are coaches that sabotage themselves with the denial. The denial that is like, why would I take that job? Like, okay, I think about when LSU's job open was in 2021. Who's the coach for the Steelers? Help me out real quick. I'm having
Mike Tomlin.
Mike Tomlin. I had a CTE moment. Anyways, Mike Tomlin said, I ain't taking no college job. Why don't y'all go to Belichick and ask him if he's taking a college job? This is disrespectful. You see what I'm saying? That comment is a comment where if he were to go on and take the LSU job, he sabotaged himself. That's the kind of denial I'm looking for, because objectively coaches lie about job searches all the time because it gets people to stop asking. You got your answer, move on. Trey Guy is the smartest guy in the chat other than Preston and Zack because he destroyed the like button. Let's get it over 100. Get me over 100, guys. We usually get like 200 likes. Y'all give me 300 tonight. Let's get this going. By the way, the other night we were talking about when Jaden Daniels won the Heisman. I asked y'all for 500 likes. We got right there, guys, right up at 500. So appreciate y'all for being so powerful on that. The last point I have on BK to Michigan is it seems a little agent driven to me. And that's why I want to know what's his sourcing. What would you're certain Brian Kelly will take the Michigan job? What would that even look like? The report.
Yeah. Literally.
What could that possibly look like? I mean, did Brian Kelly tell you himself? Yeah, I like Michigan more than LSU. Did he tell you? I don't think so. I just can't imagine what having that level of certainty. I can't imagine what a source would look like with that level of certainty. And then of course, there's really just too many dominoes that need to fall for that to happen. It's just wild to be talking about it right now. Anyways, guys, I appreciate y'all for watching. Y'all make sure to go check us out on Twitter. We will be back next week. Me and Mike will be back for our final post-game show of the year on Monday, January 1st. This is our final show of 2023, but we'll be back next year. And guys, this show will be running until signing day in February. Do you know what National Signing Day in February is? It's like February 3rd.
I'd be lying if I told you, honestly.
Anyways, I don't know. That's 35 days away. That's decades away, man. Who cares? Anyways, signing day, the Monday after National Signing Day in February, that'll be our final show of the year. So y'all make sure to tune in, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button to get your notifications. Y'all make sure to go give Zack a follow and check out his awesome work he does at sportsillustrated.com at Nagy20. You see it there. And guys, I put my handle on here. I got a new handle on Twitter at PGuy77. The underscore is gone. After years of tyranny, the original PGuy77 has abandoned his Twitter handle, and to the victor goes the spoils. The real PGuy77, no underscore. So y'all make sure to give me a follow there. Look at Trey. Please don't go. All right, Zack, you want to stay up for another hour? What you think? I'm pretty tired, man. I want to get back to my Christmas break. I'm not doing any work till the bowl game. So appreciate y'all for watching the final show of 2023. Y'all all have a happy new year, and I hope y'all had a very Merry Christmas. We will see y'all in 2024.